Hi all, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology. And today, North Node in Pisces through the houses, how to unlock your natal South Node in Virgo to understand where you have expertise, but what in life can hold you back and keep you stagnant from new growth and new opportunities, and where your North Node in Pisces is placed to understand what you are cosmically and spiritually encouraged to lean into in this lifetime, where you can be massively supported and where you yourself can evolve as a soul. I am so excited that we are finishing up this series. Thank you so much for your patience, North Node in Pisces. I know it's not always easy being a Pisces. I'm a Pisces as well, being the last sign, so I really appreciate everyone who was patient. Next series I will be starting with Pisces, so have that to look forward to. And if you would be so kind to consider in the back of your head, if you gain any value in this video, if you relate or resonate with anything that I mention or share, if you could drop a like, comment something below, subscribe if that feels like something that you want to do. Those little nudges really help me as a creator, and I am so grateful for everyone who's tuning in right now, and I hope that this video will illuminate your path forward as a Pisces North Node. And without further ado, let's dive into collective themes, and then I'll break it down rising sign by rising sign, your unique nodal journey. So to understand where you are going, we must understand where you've been. Now, I am someone who resonates with the idea of past lives. This is a branch of karmic astrology that is taught and considered. However, if the concept of past lives does not resonate for you, I just want you to sub in whatever does resonate. Oftentimes you can think of it as early in this life or something of the nature. So it is not a prerequisite in this video to believe in past lives. It's just a concept that helps illustrate it quite a bit. So for you as a Virgo South Node, you have expertise around being of service to other humans. And Virgo South Nodes oftentimes in past lives, if that's something that resonates with you, were people that a lot of people depended upon, and also had this pressure on you that you could not make a mistake. So in this life, you tend to be very conscientious, very detail oriented, very intelligent, because you were someone that other people went to, whether it was for knowledge or for service or whatever else. You were someone who was upstanding in your community, or someone who was respectable. And in this lifetime, it gives you this feeling of not needing to constantly project this veneer, like, I've got it all together. I am perfect. Do not criticize me. And while you might be more sensitive to criticism, truly there is no tougher critic than yourself. You are someone who processes the world in a very detail-oriented, analytical manner. It's just how your mind operates. And because of that, you are very intelligent. You are someone who is very gifted at being able to solve problems when they come up. You are someone who is constantly looking at your life dedicated to self-improvement. How can I show up better? You are someone who is more likely to lend a hand to other individuals. You might be someone who is more conscientious, whether it's through your diet or through your work. You are someone who gives your all, and you have high standards for yourself. You have high standards for others. However, the shadow side of Virgo South Node is that in projecting that veneer of perfection, you kind of keep people at arm's length. You don't want people in to see your imperfections and your flaws. And you can come off as someone who is very naggy or very critical because you are someone who sees the world and processes the world through what can be improved, what can be perfected, what can be made better. And so as a Virgo South Node, you might express what could be better about your loved ones, and they might perceive that as like, ouch. And that's not always your intent, but it's like what you give to other people, you also give to yourself. You're very hard on yourself. You feel like, whether it's past life theme or just early in life, you feel like other people might be able to make mistakes, but you cannot. You hold yourself to this really, really high standard. You also sort of get into these energies around trying to fix people or save people, because in past lives you were someone who other people went for support. And in this lifetime, it sort of is this humbling process in realizing that this is a big magical universe. You are just one person and you can't fix everyone and everything. And that might be infuriating to you because there is this feeling, if I was only on top of my schedule, if I was only better in these particular ways, if I only managed all of these things, if there's only more hours in the day, then everything would be perfect. But as part of this nodal journey, you're realizing that it's not, and there's actually beauty in that imperfection and flaws. Now, that's easier said than done, I absolutely know. And as a Virgo South Node, you have a lot of, neuroses. You can be someone who is very anxious. Your mind is constantly wired to be looking at any situation and focusing on what is wrong with it. But part of the journey about leaning into your Pisces North Node is noticing the beauty in the chaos, so to speak. So let's expand on Pisces North Node, because Pisces is energy that you are sort of learning how to be or how to embrace. And North Node is not where we are inherently most comfortable. So you might hear these themes around Pisces North Node and get severely uncomfortable. A Pisces North Node is here to attune to the big picture and to get more comfortable with spirituality, because Virgo South Node, as I alluded to, wants to feel like they're in control, wants to feel like if they only did everything right, then bad things wouldn't happen. And with Pisces North Node, a part of this is just loosening your grip on perfection, expecting perfection from yourself, expecting perfections from others, because when you focus less on what's wrong with it, you can find the beauty even in the imperfections. And I'm sorry, I'm like speaking like a fortune cookie right now, but you can't really avoid it when we're talking about Piscean energy, right? It's a very spiritual energy. And so spirituality is a huge theme for you to embrace, because what spirituality does is realize that you are not necessarily the one in control. And I'm not saying, if the concept of religion doesn't resonate for you, I'm not saying you have to go be religious, but even just this idea of like a universe or something that supports you, that's bigger than you, sort of allows you to surrender this tight grip on life, this tight feeling of control that you have for your life, and allows you to sort of lean into these universal spiritual energies. It allows you to feel less like your every mistake is going to mess up life. And with North Node Pisces, it's like you can't do life wrong. You're in the flow of the universe. And sometimes things are going to happen. You're going to go to your appointment and then realize it was canceled. You're going to go to fetch the ingredients for a recipe you have to make after work with 5 minutes to spare, and they don't have one of the ingredients. Like, these things happen. And rather than getting in a tizzy, which Virgo South Nodes are apt to do, like being like, oh my gosh, this is so annoying. Like, this is the worst. Like going into a spiral around like, oh, life is so unfair. Why does life do this to me? This isn't right. If there really was a creator or a universe, they wouldn't do it like this. Whereas with Pisces North Node, it's about like chuckling. So this is sort of a random example, but I'm just going to use it to illustrate a huge Pisces North Node theme. Over the weekend, my friends and I wanted to make hot toddies because they'd never tried them, and I'm a hot toddy connoisseur. And for garnish, typically you utilize cinnamon sticks. And there was only one store nearby before we needed to go and make them. And they were totally sold out. We asked the store clerks, and a Virgo South Node would let that experience ruin their time, right? Like, this is so unfair. If there really was a God or there really was a loving universe, this wouldn't happen. They would have cinnamon sticks. It's not fair. I was just trying to show my friends this fun drink. We don't have time to go to another store. This is the worst. Why does life always do this to me? Or with Pisces North Node, one of my friends, who's actually a Pisces moon, noticed this really pretty herb, and it was the star of anise. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And she was like, that's so pretty. And I was like, that is pretty. I would love to make something with that one day. So I just like Googled what you can use star of anise in. And one of the first things that it clicked on was as a garnish for hot toddies. So I grabbed that, and it was delightful. It worked really well. And that's a silly example. Obviously, like cinnamon sticks, not having them for garnish isn't the worst thing ever. But to me, this illustrates a Pisces North Node, because it's like leaning into your intuition to be like, okay, the original map or the plan didn't work out. There were not cinnamon sticks, but something beautiful emerged in the process. My friend noticed this lovely star of anise that looks like this, and I think it was like an intuitive call for her, because what are the odds that that would be something that's utilized as a garnish? So it's like when you're in those situations where things are inconvenient and stressful, rather than getting into that Virgo micromanaging energy around, I've got to fix this, this needs to be perfect, my schedule needs to be on point, taking that opportunity to take a beat and just look around and notice, okay, what if I was here for a reason? What if there was a possible detour? What if the universe was supporting me in trying this new, I don't know if it's a herb or what exactly it is, I'll have to research it, in trying this new garnish for my hot toddies, which really did revolutionize my hot toddy experience trying it. So of course, a silly example, but I do want you to lean into that, because the more you can loosen your grip on life, on feeling like you have to control and perfect every last thing, the more beautiful, sort of cosmically synchronistic experiences will come your way. This is actually such a beautiful nodal cycle, because it's really about learning to accept support from the universe, learning to pay attention to the bigger themes at play, learning to be a spiritual conduit, learning that, you know, not everything is on your shoulders. And that's another thing in terms of fixing people and things. It's like Pisces energy that is associated with unconditional love. And I'm not saying, you know, every situation, you know, just be unconditional love, because sometimes, you know, if the relationship's unhealthy or things of that nature, it's not necessarily right. But rather than feeling like you need to fix this person, see if you can appreciate the beauty for what they are and what they represent. Because fixing people, especially as a Virgo South Node, it's not going to work exactly as you imagine it to. Especially, you know, people need to want to be fixed, right? And with North Node Pisces, it's about having compassion for people. And sometimes having compassion for people is loving them enough to walk away. It's like, if you cannot appreciate that person for how they are and with their flaws and things like that, rather getting to that Virgo nagging critical nature, being like, I love you so much, and this is bringing negativity into my life, and I'm going to love you enough to let you sort of move on. Because with North Node Pisces, it's also leaning into this energy around allowing the universe to guide you and to support you. It's about tapping into that universal loving compassion. And that doesn't mean letting people walk all over you, but it does mean sometimes loving people enough to walk away if you feel like it's bringing negativity into your life or into their life, things of that nature. So it's something else to be explored. As well as North Node Pisces, I'd really encourage you to have solitude, to meditate. I know you're rolling your eyes, Virgo South Nodes. I'm too busy. I can't meditate. I don't have that time. It reminds me of that quote where it's like, meditate for an hour every day, unless you're too busy to then meditate for 2 hours. Like with Pisces North Node, schedule less, demand less of yourself. It's actually fascinating. Some of my clients who have Pisces North Nodes, it's like with Virgo South Node, they feel like they have to control and manage it all. But sometimes you can find, and I'm not saying escape from it, but sometimes you can find, if you give yourself some distance from the problem or the situation and sort of just hands it over to universal support, it'll just like work itself out. Like with Virgo South Node, you have this feeling that it's you, like everything's on your shoulders. You've got to fix your spouse. You've got to fix everything at work. You've got to do all these things. And with Pisces North Node, it's like, okay, universe, bring in the people who are going to support this problem. Let me like put less on my back. And also like, stop feeling like I'm the only one who can make things happen for my life. Like with Pisces North Node, you are about leaning into support that can come from the universe, that can come through people and opportunities and things of that nature. I would advise solitude is really great for you guys, just to have space to come into your own energy, diving into your intuition. Oftentimes with Virgo South Node, you know, if you do get an intuitive dream or something like that, you can kind of freak out because, you know, Virgo South Node wants to control everything. With Pisces North Node, it's about, you know, diving into your intuition, leaning into spiritual support, noticing the beauty of the path that is unfolding, and it'll never be perfect, but it'll be your path and it'll be beautiful. And it really allowing yourself to attune to the big picture of it all rather than the small details of the frustrations and the annoyances of daily life. Allow yourself to affix to the big picture journey and vision. So now I'm going to take it through rising sign by rising sign, house by house. Now the houses that I list, it is for whole sign. So if you do use Placidus, I do as well, go by where you have your North Node in the house and not by rising sign, okay? I just do that to make it easier for some folks, but it's very possible if you use Placidus. It could be, you know, that you are a Pisces rising, but your North Node is actually in the 12th house rather than the first house. So go by where you have your Pisces North Node, and we'll begin to illuminate this discussion a little deeper when we take it on to your unique nuances within your birth chart. So starting off with Aries ascendant or North Node in Pisces in the 12th house, South Node in Virgo in the 6th house. Ooh, so you are someone who could have in a past life or in this life early in this life could have really attached your value to what it was that you did. Like, I am a nurse, I am a firefighter, and that's what my value is wrapped in, is because I can save people, I can fix people. And even in roles, I am the best barista in town, I'm so helpful. And part of this journey is about relaxing and realizing the value that you provide in other people's lives is intangible, and that you can't fix everyone, and that your job isn't the entirety of your life. Some people with Virgo South Node can busy their schedules to like avoid the potential or the possibility for one thought to emerge. Like, they are someone who feels like they need to be on top of their schedule, over scheduling, filling up every little minute. And if you do have downtime, you kind of freak out that you're like, I'm not being productive enough. I need to like clean the closet. I need to like do all of these things. I don't deserve to relax. I don't deserve to rest. I haven't done enough. I haven't accomplished enough. And there's this anxiety, there's this nervousness, there's this constant feeling of trying to find perfection through the little details of your life, and taking little errors that you make or mistakes that you make, whether it's at work or in life, very personally. And there is this almost trap around trying to prove your value to other people by being perfect, but you're also proving your value to yourself by trying to be perfect. So when you inevitably mess up, because we are human, you take it really personally, really hard on yourself. With North Node Pisces, 12th house, a huge theme for this is getting into meditation, as well as getting into solitude. Because with the South Node, Virgo, especially within the 6th house, your mind is always on, thinking about all the little details, all of the ways that, you know, life could be improved, or all of the errands that you need to do. Like, there's just a constant, like, you are just constantly on, you are constantly thinking. And with North Node Pisces in 12th house, you need to embrace strategies in this lifetime to learn how to dull the noise of your inner world. And no, that does not mean turning to substances or escapism, because that can be pretty emphasized with this axis, but more so spirituality, meditation, yoga, things that allow you to connect to the big picture. And I'd really recommend with this access, carving time for yourself to be solitude. Like, you could find that you are actually way more productive when you allow yourself that space and grace to just be on your own, to just connect to the bigger picture, and being less focused on the little details of, you know, what it is that you do for work. So obviously, you know, for work, you got to send emails, you got to do all these things. Focus on the big picture of what you are doing to like a collective level. Like, yes, I'm sending emails, but I'm working for this organization that is bringing happiness into people's lives in these ways, or it's saving lives in these particular ways. Staying connected to your big picture will be really helpful and allow you to actually be more helpful to other people, rather than over-fixating on all the details or getting into like workplace disputes. I would honestly recommend with this axis, it might be best for you to work alone or with a team, but at least somewhat independently, because you can get wrapped up into workplace spats and things of that nature. And with North Node 12th house, it's about being able to dive into creating space within your mind, creating space to spiritual connection, as well as diving into whatever woo-woo spiritual theme comes to you, whether it is dreams, getting more into lucid dreaming, getting more into dream symbolism, whether it is getting more into meditation, more into tarot cards, things of the nature. Really embrace those techniques to bring you closer to the universe. My potential Taurus risings, North Node in Pisces in the 11th house, South Node in Virgo in the 5th house. So in past lives, there was a living for now and living for today, which does beautifully grant you in this lifetime this lust for life, this excitement for life, things of the nature. You could have been someone in past lives, or you could even notice early in this life if you do have children with South Node Virgo in the 5th house, you could find that you really locked up into patterns of being very critical of children. You can be very critical of your own art, of your own creativity. You could even be critical of your own joy, feeling like you don't deserve it to some degree, like you always need to be busy in order to feel like you deserve pleasure, deserve joy. And in this lifetime, it's about really opening up and seeing the trees for the forest, right? The big picture of the world, and dedicating yourself to a big picture passion project or a big picture vision for life that you want to impact a lot of lives beyond your own. Because with South Node Virgo in 5th house, you're definitely a hard worker. There could have been some ego attached and like, I am this doctor, I am this surgeon, I am this person that people come to and I make their life better. And it kind of swelled your ego a little bit. And it was like, while you're making a difference in the world and serving people and helping people, you were very much living for today. You could have been like a hedonist, a very like work hard, play hard kind of person. And your ego could have got sort of caught up. And with North Node Pisces in the 11th house, it's about taking that natural analytical nature, that natural service-oriented nature, and kind of divorcing ego out of it and just realizing that you are a conduit and a vessel for, something so much bigger. For North Node Pisces, it's about, diving into the universal projects and themes that are coming through in your work and allowing it to reach lots of individuals. 11th house is a house that's associated with humanitarian causes. So you could find that you head up or lead charities or altruistic events of some sort that impact a lot of individuals, and really being mindful to not let ego get too absorbed into it. With North Node Pisces, really staying focused on the vision of what you're trying to promote, the individuals that are coming into your life, as well as leaning into teams. With another energy with this node is feeling like you need to do it all on your own and that you need the fame and that you need the glory for the good that you're doing for other people. With North Node Pisces, it's about empowering other people to help with that mission, to help with that work. Also, 11th house is large audiences as well as like online communities. So you could find that you want to, be a content creator of some sort, promoting Piscean themes. So like spirituality, things that could, genuinely help people, being open to other people and accepting. Another theme with this is being open to other people and accepting your flaws, or accepting your friends even with their flaws. Like with North Node Pisces, a lot of your blessings in this life are going to come from, universal support, of course, but through your friends and through your networking. So with North Node Pisces, it is about encouraging yourself to expand your networks and the people that you know, and both nurture the friendships you have as well as be open to reach out and meet new people. And with, with South Node Virgo in 5th house, there was this past life thing around, I don't care, I'm just going to do it on my own. And with North Node Pisces in the 11th house, it's like, look how much more powerful this vision comes to life when we're all together, and really embracing the gifts that you spotlight in other individuals around. Oh my gosh, you are so gifted in this area. Yeah, there might be flaws in A, B, and C, but you're gifted in D, so I'm going to put you on that part of the team. Letting other people help your vision and allowing yourself to focus more so on the beauty that they're adding rather than the flaws that they create. And realizing that with North Node 11th house, your friends and their beauty is in their flaws. And of course, I'm not saying if they've done anything to hurt you or anything of the nature that you should keep that in your energy. Remember, with North Node Pisces, it's not so much about, remember with North Node Pisces, Pisces is the fish. If there's, toxicity in those waters, swim away. It's not so much like causing a huge fuss, it's not so much causing a huge fuss around it. It's just realizing this is not my water. This is actually draining from my well-being and from the big picture vision of my life. I'm just going to skitter elsewhere and find other fishes who do support the big vision. So I'm not saying as a North Node Pisces in the 11th house, just allow people to treat you any sort of way. But I am saying allow yourself to focus more on the beauty than they add than the flaws of your expectations or how you think they should act. My potential Gemini risings or North Node in Pisces in the 10th house, South Node in Virgo in the 4th house. So for you, where you have expertise and past life experience is around the domain of home, family, and emotional state. With the energy in Virgo, it feels like you could have been a homemaker of some sort, or you could have worked with homes, like realtor or something of the nature, but there was this energy around everything was on your shoulders in these private personal areas. So you had to do the cooking and the cleaning, and people could have related to you in the family more so of the role that you played rather than the person that you were. And that could have created, some resentment to a certain degree. And with Virgo South Node in the 4th house, you could have been someone who even yourself emotionally identified with the service that you put out or the productivity that you created. Like there was a baseline energy around affixing your value to what it was that you did, whether it was for family or your home or things of that nature. And now, when it comes to this lifetime, you might resist the energy of career and public persona quite a bit because for you, sorry to call y'all out, but you guys can be a bit judgmental. It's not your fault. You see the world through the details. And because you're so judgmental and you focus on what's wrong with other people, you think people are going to do the same thing to you. So you could resist anything that is visible or draws eyes to you because you don't want people to criticize you the way that you criticize and potentially judge other individuals. And in this lifetime, it does feel like your career is going to be something that allows you to focus on the big picture. And what I mean by that, with Virgo South Node, there's a very sort of neurotic energy to you at times. And there might be this hesitancy around leveling up in your career because to you, change could equal bad. Because with Virgo South Node, there's this feeling that if they only were to get their schedule right and they have this feeling of control over their reality, that everything would be perfect. And with Pisces North Node in the 10th house, part of this is about loosening your grip and allowing yourself to see where the universe wants you, like what value you can create for other individuals. And you could do something that you feel very strongly spiritually connected to. You can even step up as a spiritual leader of some sort, as someone who helps other people connect to the big picture of their life. And with North Node Pisces in the 10th house, you could be someone who's like sort of the visionary for a company or something of that nature. And it's really not encouraged that you do every little thing yourself. Although with South Node Virgo, you'll feel that tendency to want to, like sort of like micromanage the situation. With North Node Pisces, affix yourself to the big picture. Allow other people to support you as see fit, and allow yourself to relinquish problems to, the creator or universe or whatever you want to call it, just because with Pisces 10th house, there typically is a spiritual calling in regards to 10th house. You might be watching this and you're like, I don't know about that. Like, I'm a lawyer and I wouldn't say that's not just necessarily spiritual. It's about finding the spiritual dimension of what it is that you do in your everyday. It's like, yes, you're a lawyer, which you wouldn't consider very spiritual, but it's like you are passionate about supporting individuals whose lives have been changed in these particular ways, helping them through these crisis-like energies, and supporting them both in a tangible way by arguing their case for them, but also in a spiritual way by being someone that they can support on through this very stressful crisis energy of their lawsuit, things of the nature. So for some of you, your career could be very spiritually integrated. For some, there's a spiritual dimension that when you connect to it, you'll find you feel a lot more led. I also want you to embrace your spirituality, just because with North Node Pisces, it's considered that, with South Node Virgo, you might feel like you have to plan, and to a certain degree, sometimes you need to plan certain things that happen to you. But with North Node Pisces, see where life takes you. Look at your life and just notice, what have I always felt drawn to? What sort of people have been meeting lately? Like, look at your life, and even if you're not someone who is inherently religious or spiritual, just put on Piscean glasses for a moment. Like, let's just play pretend and look at your life through the lens of, what if everything was meant to be? What if the universe was setting me up for something absolutely beautiful? And looking at it like, well, okay, I did really love to play with cameras when I was really younger, and I did meet that really fascinating photographer a couple of weeks ago, and I did have that dream about taking photos. Maybe I'll just take a photography class and see where it takes me. Like, allowing yourself to notice those little signs, those little synchronicities, because for you, it can allow you to realize where the universe wants to place you in the big picture of it all, right? What you want your offering to be in the big picture. So I would just advise with this nodal access, fear not being visible. Allow yourself to look at yourself through the universal, compassionate eyes of a Pisces North Node, and allow yourself to stay connected to the big picture, because part of that fear criticism is a ego attachment. And I'm not saying, let go of the ego, because that's impossible, but it's sort of around realizing the big picture of what it is that you're creating or offering to the world in a very public way is bigger than just you and other people's opinions of you, and staying focused and connected to that. My potential Cancer risings, Virgo South Node in the 3rd house, Pisces North Node in the 9th house. So for you, my loves, this is a big picture lifetime. This is about connecting to your personal meaning system of life, your personal spirituality, your big picture vision and calling and purpose here. And what bogs you down with Virgo South Node 3rd house, I would imagine you guys are wicked smart, very, very intelligent, and you could process the world in a very scientific, a very scientific or like mathematical or just logical way, right? That could be subjects that make sense to you. That could be subjects that just make sense to you. You are someone who processes the world in a very logical way. You solve problems. You use your mind. You are someone who's very smart and very intelligent, and you like that. You like feeling that sense of things that make sense. Like 2 + 2 is 4, and that's what it is. Surrendering yourself to something bigger in terms of a spiritual calling, or things that are a little bit foggier, like art, philosophy, things of that, religion, things of that nature, might make you feel inherently out of control to a certain degree, because you like things that you can control. You like things that make sense to you. Yet, in this lifetime, it is about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone by connecting to the big picture of your life and sort of viewing your life as a quest rather than a math equation. With North Node Pisces 9th house, I would encourage spiritual retreats, particularly to foreign countries, things of the like, as 9th house is traveling. I would encourage any sort of higher education that calls to your spirit, particularly if it is esoteric in nature. I would advise to go to church if that resonates, or connect spiritually if that resonates, meditate, anything that allows you to realize that you are just one person in the big fabric of humanity. Because with South Node Virgo in the 3rd house, there can be this comfort zone around just wanting to kind of keep your world small because you can control that. So like stay in your hometown around your immediate surroundings, because you know the people around you, can anticipate any flaws or inconveniences that come up, where it's like that trip to Bali that you really want to go on. It's like, what if the plane crashes? What if I get there and I have a hard time getting around? What if? Your what ifs are gonna keep you in the same space in life. And it's like, with this nodal axis, you can try to use your mind to mitigate any risk, but part of the North Node Pisces journey is finding the beauty in it. Like, okay, maybe you get to Bali and it's really challenging to get around, but maybe when you get lost, you meet someone delightful and you end up traveling together. Like, sometimes those things that are annoying and frustrating and imperfect can lead to life's biggest joys, right? And with North Node Pisces in the 9th house, leaning into gratitude, leaning into new experiences, getting out of your comfort zone, whether it's traveling physically, traveling spiritually, or traveling like mentally by studying new topics, even if they're not black and white, things that ask bigger questions. What is your philosophy on life? What are your value system? Getting you out of what's been ingrained into your mind. It can be by your, closest contacts, by your neighbors, by your siblings, people who are sort of around you. Getting out of that small talk energy and allowing yourself to find some solitude and really think and consider, what is the big picture of my life? What is it that I feel passionate about? What is it that I want to add to other people's lives? Would be very encouraged for you all. My potential Leo risings. This would be North Node in Pisces in the 8th house, South Node in Virgo in the 2nd house. So for you, where your control issues can stem from and take place is particularly when it comes to your financial world. There is an energy with South Node Virgo that if only you could earn enough money, you would finally be at peace with life. But the trap of this nodal cycle is that it'll never feel enough to you. Like with South Node Virgo, it's like, okay, well, if only I had enough to live the next 10 years without having to work. And then as soon as you make that number, it's like, okay, but if my children want to go to college, I just need to make more and more. And honestly, this nodal cycle, you can tilt towards being a bit of a workaholic, or someone who finds most of your value in life wrapped up around what it is that you do for work, or what it is that you earn, or the possessions that you have. You can get locked into materialism in an effort to try to prove to other people your value, because inherently there's a feeling that you are valuable only if you earn enough money and are successful enough. And with North Node Pisces in the 8th house, this is a lifetime about letting other people help you and not being so rigidly attached to doing things your way, which oftentimes can be the hard way. With South Node 2nd house, and especially in Virgo, which is a very independent sign, there is this feeling around, I don't need anyone, I can handle myself. And that's beautiful. Your work ethic is beautiful, all of those things. But with North Node Pisces in 8th house, you can find that when other people support you and help you, you are able to find more bliss and gratitude within your daily life. And the universe could be trying to send people to support you, and you're like, nope, gotta do it on my own, gotta do it on my own, because that makes sense, makes logical sense with the South Node Virgo, whereas North Node Pisces is about leaning more with soul and less with mind, which can be very challenging to get out of your own way as a Virgo South Node. And I'm not saying quit your job and just, make other people pay your bills. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I want you to think with North Node 8th house is shared assets. So for some people that can be the case, certainly, like having a spouse or someone else who supports you can be helpful for you to develop as a soul, North Node Pisces, because you've had past life experience being the breadwinner, being the earner. So it could just be a different lesson or a different experience for your soul. But for some, it could be around, partnering with someone like a business partner and sort of relinquishing to the energy of risk and the energy of trust. If you are a business owner, learning to delegate, learning to let other people help you and your vision and your passion for the world at large. And it's also about leaning into this energy that money is not everything. So not everyone who has South Node 2nd house will be fantastic with money. Some people could actually have a really challenging time with money, but the energy around it is that money really doesn't solve all the problems. And with Virgo South Node, they feel like it will. With Pisces North Node 8th house, it's about leaning into the more spiritual, intense parts of life. With North Node 8th house, part of this is you can't take it with you in terms of the possessions and the money that you accumulate. And with North Node Pisces, there really is this feeling around wanting to have something that makes you feel connected to something bigger than just what's here. And with North Node Pisces in 8th house, it's like diving more into who you are as a soul and sort of what will remain even if you're not physically here. Part of this energy around allowing other people to support you, it could extend to alimony, child support, also just like spiritual support, emotional support from other people. Really, it's beautiful that you're self-reliant, but the universe is trying to lessen your load by sending other people to support you. And if you are a business owner, in addition to delegating, hiring team members if that's appropriate, also being able to relinquish problems up to the divine. Like if you're in a really stressful situation, you're like, oh, I have to do this all myself. I'm not saying escape and avoid from your problems, but you could find that help comes to you in the most bizarre ways when you sort of relinquish that energy around having to do it all yourself, tap into the gratitude of the situation, gratitude of the lesson that it presents, and fix yourself to the big picture. My potential Virgo risings, North Node in Pisces in the 7th house, South Node Virgo in the 1st house. So for you, there's this feeling that you've got to do it all yourself. You are very independent. You are someone who processes the world through a very logical, rational energy. You could have your role really tied into what it is that you do, how it is that you help other people. You can feel more comfortable, relating to people like, oh, I'm this person's nurse, I'm this person's doctor, whatever else, and not feel as comfortable being vulnerable or being emotional with other individuals. But that's part of what you are here. The universe will send you individuals who will help you develop as a soul. And with North Node Pisces, it's about learning to appreciate them for the beauty that they are, rather than the flaws that you pick up on them. Because as a Virgo South Node, you can subconsciously or consciously over-fixate on the flaws in other individuals as an excuse to sabotage the union and go back into your comfort zone, which is doing things your way, hard way at times. And with North Node Pisces in 7th house, relationships can be a huge learning and growing opportunity. It can allow you to tap more into universal love, both for other people as well as for yourself, learning to embrace other individuals even with their faults and flaws, and by extension learning to embrace yourself, because as a Virgo South Node 1st house, you're very, very critical. You're very, very perfectionistic. And I'm not saying, and this is so important to mention with this axis, and I think I'll say it every single time that I mention it, I'm not saying that with a Pisces North Node, you need to universally compassionately love every single person that comes into your life and let them have your energy. No, not at all. And you could find that in this lifetime, there is a journey around you learning how to have boundaries, learning not to fix people. You could have a tendency to attract people who are in need of healing and in need of help, because as a Virgo South Node first house, you identify with the help that you provide other people. But it's sort of learning to lean into this more spiritual, emotional, compassionate relationship that really feeds both of you. It really feeds both of you, right? And not relating to that person in terms of the role that you play within their life. Like, I always cook for you, I always clean for you, but like learning to relate as souls and grow together and being open to learn about yourself in the pursuit of learning about another person. This can also take place via business partnerships. The universe will send you people who are here to help you. And it's so important not to sabotage yourself from those opportunities by just fixating on what's wrong with this person, or this feels too good to be true, or I just need to do this myself. Being open to growing through these partnerships that the universe sends you. My potential Libra risings, this would be North Node in Pisces in the 6th house, South Node in Virgo in the 12th house. So for you, I want you to be very mindful around what it is that you use to escape, okay? There is an energy with this axis that they can be a little bit more subject, not saying it'll happen for you necessarily, not saying it'll happen for you or that it has happened for you, but sometimes individuals can seek to numb the analytical, constant going, honestly anxiety-ridden state of their mind with substances or just anything, just like make it go away, because Virgo's minds are just like so going that it can be overwhelming, it can be exhausting, and you could turn to substances or things in a technique to try to dull that noise. That's something that I really want you to avoid. It does feel like with this axis, there could have been past life themes around being someone who was service-oriented. You could have worked at a prison or at a mental hospital, or service-oriented in regards to spiritual help, things of that nature. And while it's beautiful, the service-oriented part of your personality, with North Node Pisces in the 6th house, you are here to be of service with North Node 6th house, certainly, but it could be service that sort of allows you to merge into it to some degree. And let me explain on it. So as I mentioned earlier, North Node Pisces is here to fixate on the big picture. Like with South Node Virgo, 12th house, this feels like you were, the nurse taking care of everyone at the mental hospital, all of these little details, right? With North Node Pisces in the 6th house, it can be attuning to the big picture of what it is that you do for service. Like, yes, you are a nutritionalist, but what are you really doing? You're promoting health, you're promoting vitality, you're promoting well-being. With North Node Pisces, I want you to lean a lot into gratitude, even for your problems. Like with South Node Virgo, 12th house, those spirals that you get into around, oh, this is so annoying, they didn't have cinnamon sticks at the market, now I don't know what to do, It could be so stressful, and you can feel like you have so much worries that you want to numb it, you want to suppress it. You can even be so stressed that you just procrastinate or escape from it in entirety just because you're like, I can't deal with this. With North Node Pisces, it's all chuckling and seeing if you can solve the problem in a different way, seeing if you can find the beauty in the situation. I would really advise with this axis to have a daily routine that supports both your body and your soul. So this is creating a morning routine where you meditate, where you read a book that allows you to connect to the big picture. For you, you need to live a life that has soulfulness infused into it. If you work in a busy work environment, maybe having your own desk or allowing your lunch break to go off and refresh your own energy, tune into your intuition. You can find that allows you to serve people even better when you tune into your intuition. 6th house is coworkers as well as people that we hire. So rather than micromanaging them and stressing them out by focusing on their flaws, seeing if you can empower them, realize what's beautiful within them rather than hyperfixating on what's wrong with them, right? And you could also find that it's very supportive for you to have a pet, because it kind of allows you to sink into that universal, compassionate love that you are here to embrace as a Pisces North Node. My potential Scorpio risings, this would be North Node in Pisces in the 5th house, South Node in Virgo in the 11th house. So past life themes for you were around running around, trying to do all the things, trying to make the world a better place, and getting really frustrated because you couldn't do it all. Which could lead to some guilt at times. Like you were someone who is very attuned to the collective and the collective's problems, what's wrong with humanity, where, the humanitarian causes that we need to, support. And it's beautiful, truly, your desire to want to help, to want to support, big picture collective issues like racial injustice or climate change or things of the nature, things that affect a lot of people, right? However, in past lives, it feels like you were running around, trying to save the world, that you forgot to enjoy the process. And not to say that, it's the most joyful thing trying to combat climate change or anything of the nature, but your value in your life was sucked into how you were trying to help and support other individuals. And you didn't really enjoy the process of being a human. You were so busy trying to fix humanity that you forgot to be a human while you win. And with North Node Pisces in the 5th house, you are here to enjoy your life. Appreciate your desire to want to support other people, appreciate your natural ability to sort of connect with the collective consciousness, like with what other people are worried about or even with other people in general. But with North Node Scorpio in the 5th house, be open to do things your own way and not always be so rigidly attached to the collective. Because with South Node Virgo in the 11th house, you can be someone who sees your own value when other people value you. With North Node Scorpio in the 5th house, it's about being able to do your own thing. If you're in a friend group or in a club where it's like, I don't really like how they do things, I kind of want to do it my own way. This is a nodal cycle that's about learning to empower your option to choose a different way of doing things, especially if you feel spiritually guided to do so. Like your analytical Virgo South Node brain might be saying like, you can't leave this friendship, you can't leave this club, it doesn't make sense. With North Node Pisces, the 5th house, it's like leaning into change, even if it's scary, if it feels soul aligned, it is part of your journey, and leaning into that. You could also find that you are a beautiful artist, a beautiful musician, a beautiful creator with North Node Pisces in the 5th house, having activities that just sort of you merge into completely, whether it's creating art or things of that nature, and getting out of your own way. Like when your analytical brain is on, it's really hard for the universal spiritual creativity to flow through you in the way that you are designed for it to. So with North Node Pisces, I would really suggest meditating or finding space to clear space, if anything else, for your art and for your creativity. Or look at a song after and you're like, that came through me? I'm so surprised. Like for you, the act of creating, and that could be any medium, whether I mentioned it or not, where you allow that universal support to flow through you. And part of that is around being comfortable in breaking the mold. Like with South Node Virgo in the 11th house, it might make more sense to do what everyone else is doing, but with North Node Pisces in the 5th house, if you feel soulfully and spiritually inclined to want to go into this particular avenue, being open to that call. Other manifestations, you could find that the process of having children is something that is very spiritually helpful for you. You can find that it kind of helps you attune more to the universal love that's all around, as well as the universal love that you have for your child and the universal love that you have for yourself, as well as enjoying the process. Like you can enjoy the process even when you are in the pursuit of, changing other people's lives. Like with North Node Pisces, I want you to have gratitude. I want you to find moments to experience pleasure, to have fun, to fall in love, things of that nature that can make you feel vulnerable. Like with the South Node Virgo, part of your past life was rigidly attached around, this is what I did, this is my role. I helped this organization. I was a doctor to these individuals. With North Node Pisces in 5th house, it's about learning to find value in just enjoying yourself as a human, falling in love deeply, even as vulnerable as that can make you feel, having children if that's something you want to do, as well as creating art, even if it breaks the mold, if it makes you feel closer to source, as well as feel spiritually inspired. The universe is picking you as a conduit, so do it a favor and allow it to flow through you. My potential Sagittarius risings, this would be my North Node in Pisces in the 4th house, South Node in Virgo in the 10th house. Woo! So for you, past life themes were very much around who you were in your career, what people knew you as, who you were within the public eye, solving problems and creating value for other people. And in this lifetime, it's about learning to embrace the person that you are without all of that, without the accolades, without the accomplishments, without helping other individuals. Who is it that you are? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with helping other individuals, and I'm not saying you're not gonna have a career, but you'll find that the success that you so desire eludes you until you learn how to sort of embrace yourself, have love for yourself just as a baseline person. With North Node Pisces in the 4th house, you are encouraged to lean more into, your emotions, to embrace your emotions of what comes up, to tune into, the ebbs and flows of life. For some individuals, there could be the strong desire to want to succeed and achieve, within the public eye, so much so that you sacrifice time with family or time with things that make you happy. You don't really set up your home because you're so busy out in the world trying to achieve, trying to have other people echo your own value to you rather than just sort of grounding down and really asking yourself, what is it that I want? And now every single person who's watching this video may not, have a great relationship with their family. For some, it could indicate diving more into family matters, maybe diving more into your ancestry, into your culture, maybe creating value within the family business, something of the nature. For some who might have a more challenging relationship with family, part of this theme could be around breaking certain, generational patterns. And, this is challenging to do. And of course, it takes a certain element of our healing to get there. But with North Node Pisces in the 4th house, it could just be, for anything, just for yourself, finding within yourself to have gratitude for those challenging experiences that you had with family and what it was that it taught you to a baseline, and noticing how freeing that is. North Node Pisces can also find that they feel called to be a homemaker, that they feel called to dive more into home, into family, and really asking yourself, what is that makes me happy? What kind of life do I want to live? What kind of life do I want to live? And rather than running around constantly trying to constantly achieve your goals, thinking that happiness will be waiting there, diving more into what makes me feel happy now. What do I feel the most connected to in terms of big picture vision for the life and my own spirituality, and how can I create a career that honors that baseline of what I want to live, where I want to live. I want to live in the forest. I want to have time to work on my art in the morning. Maybe I could do something online in the afternoon. And being comfortable even with a more simple reality, if it's something that just makes you feel spiritually and soulfully inclined. And with North Node Pisces, ensuring your home is a sanctuary. I would really advise living alone, or at least having your own sacred space, having time or space in your home to spiritually connect. For example, setting up a corner of your house where it's an altar and you go there every morning to pray and to meditate, and it's just a sacred space within your home, because you can find your physical home, your physical surroundings can sort of mirror your internal state to a certain degree. And part of the North Node Pisces is about infusing that spiritual energy into your physical home in some regard, or even maybe like having spiritual gatherings in your home or something of the nature could be very supportive for you. My potential Capricorn risings: North Node in Pisces in the 3rd house, South Node in Virgo in the 9th house. So for you, where you can get caught is in this energy of needing to know it all and to have all the answers, and have this energy around, I am perfect, no one can come for me, people come to me for the answers. And it's almost like the energy where you could have been in a past life like a preacher or a priest or a professor or something, where a lot of people came to you and it wasn't really this interpersonal connection. It was more so you lecturing or telling them about these things, and you were the authority on the matter. And while you should appreciate, the natural spiritual connection that you have and the wisdom that you can share, with North Node Pisces, this is about leaning more so into communication as a dialogue and taking yourself off the pedestal, realizing that you don't need to solve everyone's problems. Sometimes with North Node Pisces in the 3rd house, just by talking to someone, the most perfect message can come through to them where they're like, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And it's like, rather than having this egoic attachment, like, yep, that's me, I know everything, realizing like, wow, spirit, God, universe chose me for that particular message to come out, and opening yourself as a conduit, getting ego out of the way, and really leaning into communication. Because North Node 3rd house, I'm one, not in Pisces, but I am a North Node 3rd house, and oftentimes they can resist communication quite a bit and are being more shy. they feel more comfortable when they're the ones telling other people how to live their life and what to do. And with North Node Pisces in the 3rd house, there could be certain vulnerabilities that come up in communications. But I really advise be open to getting yourself out there, to strengthening your craft in terms of communication. You could be a brilliant writer. I would really suggest, as a Pisces North Node, creating space to empty your mind. I'm so sorry if the camera angle changed. My battery died, so I had to go deal with that. But essentially with North Node Pisces in the 3rd house, creating opportunities to allow your mind to be blank via meditation, or even to gain clarity on your emotions via journaling. Writing would be a great outlet for this, and realizing that the mind is both a transmitter as well as a receiver. So being open to the messages that you can give to other people, because seriously, the universe can speak through you if you find that you can clear your space so that you can be a conduit for these spiritual source energies. But also, people could have spiritual messages for you in return. Many North Node 3rd house types avoid and detest small talk. Being open to communicating with all sorts of people, infusing communication into your everyday environment, you can really find this beautiful two-way reception of messages. My likely Aquarius risings: North Node in Pisces in the 2nd house, South Node in Virgo in the 8th house. So there could have been for you past life themes around being supported by other people, but you a lot of your life force energy was absorbed into solving problems for them to some extent. So let's say you were supported by your spouse and you were trying to fix them, or a lot of your energy was derived towards being of service to them, playing a role to them so they could support you in return. You could have also been someone like a financial advisor, an accountant, something of the nature. And another dimension of the 8th house is around death, fear, things of the nature. So with South Node Virgo, you could have been so busy trying to control and perfect life and not die that you forgot to live. Like, there feels to be this energy where your fears could have defined you. It could have kept you in a box. You avoided any sort of personal development and directed it towards fixing and solving things for other individuals. And you were so scared around death because it's really something that can't be controlled. And Virgo really is this intense, neurotic desire to want to control, to want to perfect. And 8th house is where we surrender, it's where we risk. So the two energies just feel like there was a past life theme around your anxieties and your fears could have dominated your life. And there was this nature around being dependent on other people, like having other people supporting you, things of that nature. And in this lifetime with North Node 2nd house, this is about learning to support yourself in a myriad of ways. And spiritual support could be something really great, like attuning to the big picture of it all so you don't feel as absorbed into fearing death and fearing the endings of things. With North Node Pisces, about diving into the oceanic feeling of the universe, the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs, the beginnings and the endings, how it's all merging together. And that will allow you to find more peace in the matter, as well as spiritually process any grief or any loss that you experience in this lifetime. With North Node 2nd house, it is important that you begin to develop skills that you can exchange tangibly for value. And you could work actually in some spiritual field with the combination North Node Pisces in the 2nd house. You could be someone who is a pastor or priest or something of the nature. And it is very important, the exchange of money and value, because for you were supported by other people and you didn't really get the opportunity to be able to follow, your spiritual whims or feel connected to something bigger, because so much of your energy was absorbed into supporting or serving that person in order to, stay alive. And with North Node 2nd house, it's about building a reality that protects your own peace, that allows you space of solitude, that creates stability for yourself. As South Node 8th house, there could be early in life or past life themes around being in a constant crisis state, having to merge energy with other people to anticipate their needs and meet their needs, serve their needs as well. And with North Node Pisces, it's about being able to earn an income, because that buys you, freedom. It buys you the space to have your own solitude. It buys you the freedom to be able to pursue your spiritual callings, things of that nature. My potential Pisces risings: this is North Node in Pisces in the 1st house, South Node in Virgo in the 7th house. For you, you are a fixer and you really try to fix other people and their problems as a way to avoid the work that you may have to do yourself. Like, it's easier to try to fix and perfect other individuals than to acknowledge what it is that you feel like you want to do with your world. Like, you can find that early in life or past life, a lot of your energy was absorbed in trying to fix or change other people, and many of which may have not wanted to change at all. It has to come from within. And it's not to say that you'll never fall in love, but you'll find that soulmate deep relationship sort of eludes you until you learn how to feel more comfortable on your own, how to create solitude, how to feel comfortable within your own space and within your own energy, and how to feel content carving your own path when that feels soulfully aligned, soulfully driven. Because you can find relationships, you can attract a lot of people in need of healing. Because if you're Virgo South Node, you are someone very helpful, and it does feel like in a past life or early in life, a lot of your identity could have been wrapped up into the people that you took care of, or the people that you served, the people that you supported, and you were on the back burner. You didn't really have the space to dive into, what is it that I want to do with my life? What is my outlook? What is my philosophy? What is my connection to beyond? And this lifetime, you're getting this cosmic assignment to prioritize yourself first, to follow your bliss, to follow what you feel called to do, to follow your own spiritual desires in this lifetime, to allow yourself perhaps to be more visible for your abilities. Maybe it was more comfortable in past lives to hide out in partnerships or in early in life because, Virgo can be a little judgmental or critical at times. And you might find that if you dare to step out or do your own thing, people can be more critical or judgmental to you, but that's really just projection. If you can look at yourself with more, compassion and more love for the person that you are, that will be the response of other people as you pursue something that is more visible, that is more, heart-centered, feeling more aligned in who it is that you are. You could also find with North Node first house, art could be a great way of expressing yourself. You might be really into photography. You could be really photogenic, a model or something of the nature, really able to channel that Piscean energy. But I really want you to embrace opportunities to express yourself, to put yourself out there, to go on quests and adventures. If you want to go on that spiritual retreat, go for it. And if your relationship is making you pick this fork in the road where it's stay in this relationship and get absorbed into their dramas and fixing their problems, or embark upon a more soulfully led path, I hope that you choose yourself. Friends, thank you so much for tuning into this series. I am so grateful. And Pisces, like I said, my next series, you guys will be top of my list. My Instagram handle is at Comet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.